Armwrestling is kind of broken. Why, you might ask? Well, because of the rules. Some leagues let you fly off the table, while others foul you out for moving your elbow a millimeter. And it's not just about elbow fouls. It goes much deeper than that, because the whole system is kind of a mess. So what are the main problems? Let's break it down. Armwrestling isn't one sport. It's a range of different sports. Let me elaborate. Armwrestling isn't united. There are many leagues, and every armwrestling league has its own specific rule set, with which they try to balance two things. That's accuracy and entertainment. Which means that you can first watch WAL and then move on to watching WAF, and it's a completely different system. I'd like to call such separation the rule set spectrum. Here are examples of the most prominent leagues, ranging from the most controlled to the most loose. World Armwrestling Federation, East vs West, Arm Wars, WAL, Major Arm Wrestling Championship, Arm Sumo or Freedom Arm Wrestling. And the rules usually vary in these core mechanics. First up is taking the grip. Usually leagues decide on using the ref's grip or the set grip. In a ref's grip, the referee physically sets the hands, makes sure the webbing is even, the shoulders are squared, the wrists are straight. No moving from the athletes is allowed. The referee closes one person's thumb, then the other person's, then one person's hands and the other person's hands. Then the referee follows up with don't move, go. Now the advantage to the ref's grip might be that it's more commonly used, that athletes are more used to it, but there are also disadvantages. The person that gets closed second has a disadvantage over the person that gets closed first. And also a lot of fighting happens in the setup through micro movements, even though it's not supposed to happen. Armwrestling is a game of millimeters, every little difference matters. Then we move on to the set grip. In a set grip, both athletes close their thumbs and hands at the same time, and the referee doesn't set the hands physically. But there is a lot more loading between the athletes, so it's close your thumbs, close your hands, go. Now in my opinion, the advantage with a set grip is that there isn't that much time for manipulation, because the athletes' hands are open most of the time and they close their hands seconds before the match starts. Main disadvantage, I think, is simply with the athletes not being as used to it. But I believe that it's overall a better system. The second mechanic is an elbow foul tolerance. An elbow foul is when your elbow comes off the pad. Either it comes up or it goes off the side of the pad. Elbow fouls are completely prohibited in some leagues, resulting in a foul, but some leagues have a much higher tolerance for elbow fouls. The third mechanic are running versus stop fouls. A running foul means that when an athlete fouls, it doesn't stop the match. He has to continue fighting, and if he wins that round, then the match restarts. He doesn't get a round, but he gets the opportunity to win the another round. I believe this is a very important rule for entertainment. The match doesn't get stopped every time something happens. A disadvantage could be that a deliberate foul could be made to gain an advantage without the match stopping. But I believe this problem gets fixed with a professional foul. A professional foul is a foul that's clearly intentional, and this foul should result in losing the round or losing the match. Now a stop foul works in a way that when an athlete fouls, the match stops. Now the advantage to this system may be that it promotes more accuracy. The rules are more rigid, more clear. A disadvantage could be that the opponent can also foul deliberately when he's starting to lose the center and he intentionally puts his elbow up, then it results in a restart for the athlete. The fourth mechanic are slip rules. Some leagues promote all slips go to straps, others give you a loss if you foul in a losing position or it's an intentional foul. And the last difference is in the tables. Some leagues, like the MAC or Arm Sumo, utilize a completely different table than the ones used in WAF or in East vs West. Now let's look at how every league applies these rules. First off, let's start with the most strict rule set, and that's WAF or World Armwrestling Federation. WAF uses the referee's grip. They are extremely strict on elbow fouls, with the fouls stopping the match. It's a two-foul system. If an athlete fouls twice, then he loses the round. Slip in a losing position or an intentional slip counts as a loss, and the table is the standard WAF competition table. Now in my opinion, this rule set is way too strict for entertainment purposes for the viewers. Matches often end on fouls, especially in a tournament setting. Now let's move on to the largest league, and that's East vs West. East vs West also utilizes the referee's grip. There are minor tolerances for elbow fouls. Small lifts of the elbow are allowed if the athlete doesn't gain an advantage from it. The league uses stop fouls and it's a 2-foul system. Athletes get fouls for intentional slips, and the table is also the standard WAF table. Although I believe the elbow pads for the East versus West table is a bit larger than the classic WAF. This system is better than WAF, but I believe it's still way too strict for pure entertainment. So then we move on to Arm Wars. Arm Wars also utilizes the referee's grip. The elbow fouls are also a bit more lenient. The system works on running fouls, which means the matches continue if an opponent fouls. All slips go to straps and the table is a standard WAF. In my opinion, this is a very good rule set with the combination of enjoyment and also keeping the accuracy. WAL utilized the set grip. There was a very high tolerance for elbow fouls. It was a running foul system. All slips went to strap by default. Also, the athletes went to the straps after 30 seconds of negotiating in the grip. And the table was modified a bit with very large elbow pads. WAL was a pretty loose system. There was a lot of elbow fouls, jump starts, so it was great for entertainment, but it wasn't that much of a controlled system. When we continue even further, we get to MAC, so Major Arm Wrestling Championship. The Major Arm Wrestling Championship utilizes the set grip. The slip rules are that most slips go to straps. They have a very unique elbow foul system because the table is different. The elbow pads are built in the table and the pin pads are a bit higher than the elbow pads. And if an athlete's elbow doesn't go over the pin pad, then it doesn't count as an elbow foul. So I think this is a very good rule system, especially with the elbow foul system, although some athletes could argue that it's way too loose. It's not accurate enough. So at the end of the spectrum is freedom arm wrestling or arm sumo. In this sport, the athletes take what grip they want. The referee doesn't control it that much. There are no strict rules for elbow fouls unless they're intentional. Every slip goes to straps, and the table is a simple surface with the playing field being the whole table. Athletes can move around the table if they stay on their side. It's much harder to pin an opponent because there aren't any elevated elbow pads, so usually the matches result in longer wars. So this rule system, it's really fun, entertaining to watch, but it kind of removes the way we see arm wrestling today. Now I'll talk about what I believe, in my personal opinion, is the best rule set. First off, utilize a running foul system, because as a viewer I have seen it way too many times that the matches stop and then the outcome of the whole match can be completely different. I believe the set grip lets the athletes fight more naturally. Not everything is controlled by the referee. Put the elbow pads into the table, elevate the pin pad, and if the elbow doesn't go above the pin pad, then don't call it a foul. I don't think these micro elbow fouls should be really called. Also, if the pads are built into the table, then doing the king's move is much more difficult because you're just gonna stop with your arm on the table. And also incorporate professional fouls. So it's a foul that is intentional. If it's obvious that an athlete fouled because he wanted to gain some kind of an advantage, then make him lose the round.
So yeah, this is what I would see as the best possible rule system, which is also in some ways realistic for the future of the sport. Please let me know if I get anything wrong. It is possible since gathering all of the information wasn't easy. Anyways, thanks a lot for watching.